Hi everyone, we're group 3 and we're going to be presenting on Swann's Way. It's a book written by Marcel Prousts. So the background of Swann's Way is that it was published in 1913 and this was 4 years before the start of World War I. Due to this change of time, Proust and other artists of his time experienced much change, tension, and anxiety. Before this, however, they underwent the French Belle Epoque period, which was a revolutionary time for art, entertainment, and architectural engineering. Examples of such were Van Gogh and Monet's work of Impressionism. The Eiffel Tower was also constructed, and so on and so forth. While writing Swann's Way, Proust looked back on the Belle Epoque period with heavy thoughts of reminiscence. And it was also during this time that we see one of the major philosophical undertones that was studied, and this was the nature of time. Proust used this to correlate with the notions of memories in his works and give heavy emphasis on how they affect our everyday lives. To give a bit of a background on the author, Marcel Proust was born on July 10th of 1871. He grew up during the period called the Belle Epoque period in the French history, and it was due to his intellect and charm that he paved the way for himself to be included in the Parisian elite groups and salons. Despite the fact that he was born with poor health, he overcame physical ailments and was able to climb up the social ladder with his expertise. His last 3 years were spent in complete solitude as he tried to complete his works even at the last moments of his life. This exemplifies not only his passion but his professionalism, and he passed away in 1922 due to pneumonia. In relation to his work, Swann's Way, Proust shares a likeness with Marcel in having a close relationship with that of his family and especially his mother. The factors of his life heavily influence the characteristic of his work, as Marcel is a character that directly links with Proust due to their likeliness. The summary of Swann's Way begins with Marcel being the narrator, and during this first part, he serves as a representation of Proust in his childhood and youthful life. He is the only narrator that we see, and we see Marcel lapsing back to his time memory over a cup of tea. So he reflects on the memories that he experienced as he was a child. And the most prominent thing that readers know about Marcel in his childhood is his tendency of being unable to fall asleep at night due to his anxieties of the ambiguity of his self-worth and that of the movement of time. He has to rely on his mother for the most part, and while he feels guilt in doing this, we see the support of his parents in helping him cope with his issues. Readers are then led into Marcel's thoughts as to why he chose to become a writer, and it is ultimately because of his love, appreciation, and fascination for the natural beauty of Cambrai. And he ultimately wishes to become a writer to document his sights and thoughts into words that he can pass on. Vivani?
The narrator, Marcel, the story is told from Marcel's own perspective. Marcel is undergoing a series of flashbacks and reminiscing upon his childhood and his inability to sleep and being scared of the concept of time and identity. These insecurities that have haunted him in the past shows readers how difficult it was for him to cope with himself. He suffers from nervous ailments and needs, and he longs for a kiss from his mother every night before going to bed. Despite all the mental ailments, Marcel shows the readers that he overcomes himself as he is fantasized by art and an avid reader. This is our interpretation of Marcel's mother's perspective. We wrote how her thoughts and her true feelings aren't shown because, of course, it is Marcel's perspective. But we see a battle between her feelings and thoughts towards Marcel versus societal views and her husband's constriction. This is our explanation of Marcel's mother's perspective. The reader doesn't know Marcel's mother, her actual feelings, and the way she feels about his illness. She tries to help him, but she wants him to mature out of it. There's a notable conflict between her thoughts and actions. She does not truly know what the best would be for Marcel. She cannot truly reveal her feelings towards Marcel because she's being constricted by her husband and societal views. In this way of putting the focus on her, we are giving her a voice because she does play a crucial role in the life of Marcel by being by his side in full support of him. Marcel's mother seems to be an important focal point in Marcel's pain and happiness. She knows at the moment that she's trying to only make him feel better, but in the future, he will only suffer from this. When Marcel's father suggests she sleep with Marcel for the night, both know that rather than fighting against Marcel's condition, they would have to comfort him instead. It is at this point when they understand the severity of Marcel's state and cannot help but feel sympathy for him and at the same time sympathy towards his mother. She secretly hopes that Marcel will grow out of this phase of her having to kiss him every night in order to fall asleep. Marcel feels sorry for her mom because he knows that because of him, she will be in a stressful state. And he quotes, "I felt that I had with an impious and secret finger traced a first wrinkle upon her soul and made the first white hair shoe upon her head."
It is often understood that Proust had a difficult time in composing a work that would be either fictional or it would discuss philosophical interests. But as it seems, the novel compiles both aspects. Particularly, though, Proust sheds light on the concept of the nature of time and power of memory throughout Swann's way. In the beginning, we know that the presence of literature in Marcel's eyes is so overwhelmingly powerful that he feels the sensations and emotions from the events that transpire in that literary world. And we also know that once Swann introduced him to Bergare, Marcel's novel world infinitely expands. Bergare and his works, though, are a reference to philosopher Henry Bergson and his theories of time and space, which eventually tie into Proust's ultimate assertion in the novel. Proust presents the idea that the ordinary mind tends to struggle in recalling past events, and as an aspiring writer, Marcel understands that there's a problem in tapping into that. And even as Bergson once wrote, the past is waiting to be utilized to create extraordinary works, and that, quote unquote, the past follows us at every instant. All that we have felt, thought, and willed from our earliest infancy is there, leaning over the present, which is about to join it, pressing against the portals of consciousness that would fain leave it outside. Marcel learns this when he sips on tea, and the scent of it activates an involuntary memory of his calm and peaceful view of Combray. This experience is what illustrates to readers that memory cues can lift the past into the present conscious mind in so much vivid detail that it almost is as if you were experiencing it firsthand again. Therefore, Proust helps suggest that time is continuously flowing duration, that each event is indivisible, and that we as humans live in the then and now simultaneously. Instead of a chronological sequence of seconds and minutes, he proposed that life was like a river, everything flowing and streaming through at once. This philosophical view, though, challenges the general consensus at the time because scientists like Albert Einstein believed mathematically that time is divisible, therefore measurable in units. But generally speaking, among the thinkers in that century, most believed that science was correct and that Bergson and Proust's philosophy was wrong. But regardless, Proust wants the readers to see the way that the human mind operates and how it perceives reality has as much as a relation to a person's life as does the event that transpires around them.